Hi, y'all, and welcome to Yaya. I'm here today to give you a full moon reading with our full moon in Cancer today. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but wanted to jump on and get that started so you had something to take into the new year with you. The full moon is a wonderful time to look at areas of your life that might be holding you back, or things that might be holding you back. So it's a great time to shed, and it's a wonderful time that illuminates the things that you need to shed. So be mindful. During the full moon, people say, oh, they go crazy and things are crazy and the energy is crazy. And so you might see some of that, especially with our full moon in Cancer, as this is the moon's home and it is a super emotional sign already. The Cancer can switch from one to the other very quickly, and it is very protective, very defensive, and sometimes a little crabby. So pay attention to that energy as it surrounds you, and be mindful of others too, right? Holding compassion in your heart whenever you might see that some other people are going through some things, especially with everything else going on this year. So I'm going to get started with a Celtic cross spread just to give you a little bit more clarity for yourself and what you might be able to let go of, or what might be illuminated through this full moon cycle. The Celtic cross spread is a wonderful detailed spread. I'll go through it and let you know what it has to say, and then you can kind of take from it what speaks to you. So the cards have already been shuffled. I like to shuffle my deck 5 times and then cut my deck 3 times before I typically do readings. So allow yourself to think of what it is that you might need to shed, what it is that needs to be illuminated in your life, and we'll go from there. All right. The first card that comes up for you today is the Magician. All right. So this is the card that represents the experience, the situation that is at hand. And the Magician card is wonderful here because we all need to be able to realize that we can make magic in our lives. This card actually says something along the lines of, look at the world in front of you. How can you make it better? What can you do to take action to put more of what you want in your life? How can you make that happen? Because you can bring more of what you want into existence. It is the fact of believing it and then taking action on it as well. So it can be challenging because it can mean that we have to stop doing certain things, or we have to start doing certain things. So be mindful of that throughout this spread, because it's going to help you determine where or what area of your life you can help to manifest that magic. The card that covers you is the Ten of Swords. So now this is a card that is showing you what it is that you need to understand is that when the world feels like it's crumbling below you, when you feel like you have been stabbed in the back, you see the card with all the swords. When you feel that you are at your lowest, right? Sometimes it is hard for us to pull ourselves up and out of that, to allow ourselves to even contemplate the thought that there is a chance for us to get past this. There is more for us to find gratitude for. And it is just that. It is, whenever we are feeling this defeated in life, it might be best to reach out to somebody else that can understand what you're going through. Talk to somebody about it. Talk it through over yourself. If there are situations in your life, reach out to reach out to a professional, reach out to a friend, and allow them to help you sort through the things that are going on that are holding you down, because some things are too much for you to take on your own. So remember that it's okay to ask for help. That's what this card is saying. This is the card that covers you. Now, the card that crosses you, this can be a supportive card or an obstacle. So this is the Knight of Wands. Now, this card, ooh, I just got chills. This card represents a few different things. Okay, so it represents a change in address, it represents a change in job, it can also represent a big change in your life that you have to take action on. The wands are all about action, initiation, fire, moving, and I always like to let people know that it can also be something in our lives. For instance, if there is a big change that we know we need to make. If you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and run a marathon, or I'm going to start preparing to run for a marathon. I'm going to do that this year, and I'm waking up tomorrow and I'm getting it started. A lot of times we find that we might get started and then we kind of start to fizzle out, or we might not start for a few more weeks. This card represents when you have that energy within you of something that you want that hard, you are going to get it started, and you are not going to start fizzling out. You might have to take a break, but you are going to keep that momentum. So whatever changes you are going to make, this is a supportive card because it is telling you that you have the drive, the desire, and the ability to bring this into existence for yourself. So big changes coming in 2021 for a lot of people, as this year has taught a whole lot of people a whole lot, right? A lot to be mindful of. The foundation for our spread. Now, this is going to give you an idea, oh wow, of where this is coming from, what area of your life that you can use to build on. The Emperor card is a card that invites you to pay attention to how you respect authority in your life. How do you respect other people's authority? When it's somebody else's job to be the person who is doing, telling you what to do, if you go to someone's house and it's their home, so you kind of have to abide by their rules. If you are at work and your boss is telling you to do certain things, if you are at home and you're wanting to get chores done, how are you respecting the authority in these situations of making sure that you're following through with abiding by those rules? At the opposite end of that, how are other people respecting your authority? How are you inviting them to respect your authority? So whenever we are communicating with other people, it is very important for us to pay attention to that energetic balance. If we're constantly giving, then we are going to recognize when we're not receiving. And if we're giving in the sense of hoping that we're going to receive, then we're already attaching an expectation to that giving. And when we do so, when the receiving doesn't happen, we are left frustrated. We are left bitter. So it's important for us to look at those things, look at our energy and how we're investing it. Are we investing it without attachment, or are we putting it out there? Are we respecting our own authority by allowing ourselves to let it go, or are we automatically setting ourselves up for this? Are we automatically setting ourselves up for that? So be mindful of that. That's what this spread is telling you today, that this is the foundation that you can build on, of being mindful of how you're using your energy and respecting yourself and respecting others, right? Because we're all on different playing fields, or we're all on the same playing field, but with different tools, right? Now, what lies behind you, the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords represents a long-term goal that you wanted to bring into existence. This long-term goal usually means things that you have to cut away. This is ideas, feelings, emotions, communication, a lack of communication. The sword suit is all about that, right? And a lot of movement. So this is something that you've already known that you need to set boundaries on. It is something that you have already known that you need to start respecting your energy and respecting other people's energy where it is, right? And not setting expectations on it. So this should kind of give you an idea of what it is in your life that this full moon is going to be shedding light on. This goal, this long-term goal that you already wanted to put into motion, and maybe you didn't have that momentum the first time you put it out there. Maybe it didn't feel as important to you, but now it does. So allow yourself to think about that as we pull the card that crowns you. I pull the card that crowns you. And this is our hopeful outcome. The hopeful outcome is the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands represents trusting that signs will be available to you. And this is hopeful. I believe that signs are available. I believe that we get guidance from the world around us. The hopeful outcome isn't necessarily the full outcome, though. And the truth of the matter is we read signs when they're not there, and we don't see them sometimes when they are. And sometimes they are so much there that we refuse to see them because we don't want that to be the sign. We will sit there and fight against the sign that's been given to us because we don't wanna. I have been there. Now, the card that lies ahead of you is the World, y'all. The World. Now, this is, I just got chills again. So this card tells you when you balance out the inner and the outer, this work that you've been doing to create this balance, to create these boundaries, is just the tip of the iceberg. And as you continue to do this, you are going to find so much more harmony, so much more peace in your life. And you are going to find that the world is at your fingertips, that you can bring things into existence, that you can find more happiness in your life. So this is a beautiful card to come up for your future, what lies ahead of you. Now, how you're going to need to be. This is great. The Moon card. This is how you're going to need to be in this situation. This is telling you you're going to have to be mindful that there are always going to be misunderstandings. The poor moon is up there, and when it disappears, everybody thinks it's gone and doesn't give it any more thought of day. Oh, it's dark, and everybody's mad because it's dark and there's no light whenever it's nighttime. But when the moon's full, everybody appreciates it, and everybody says, wow, thank you for helping to light my way. The truth of the matter is the moon's always there. And it's always the same size. It's always illuminated the same way in a sense, right? It's always there. But it only illuminates from us because of how our world turns and how the sun reflects upon all of that, right? So the poor moon, completely misunderstood. And misunderstandings happen. So we, as people, have to be aware that there are misunderstandings in the things that we say to other people, the things that other people say to us. We perceive it one way, they might have meant it a completely different way. Think of how we send a text and somebody uses caps locks, or an email and somebody uses caps locks. Some people know or feel like caps locks is all yelling. Other people, it's emphasis. And some other people just don't know that their cap locks is on. So be mindful of that as you're going through this experience of this full moon cycle, that misunderstandings are totally part of the process, and it is up to us how we allow ourselves to respect the authority, to respect the boundaries, to pay attention to the goals that we've had set, and to be mindful that signs are available to help us and we can take a step back before we react. Now, the next card is how other people see you. So other people see you. Two of Pentacles represents growth and change. It represents that other people might see that there is some growth happening, and they can also see that you might be holding on to some things. They can see the pain that you have. They can see this restriction that's happening within you, and they might want to help. They might want to judge. It's not up to us to tell them how they're meant to feel, right? So we have to recognize that other people are seeing changes. They might not always see the good side. So it's important to pay attention that the growth is there, inevitable. Change is there, inevitable. It's how we allow ourselves to respond to it. It's how we appreciate that whenever there are misunderstandings, that we have the power to calm ourselves down, to react in a better way, to be mindful of that energy invested, because energy, it can be wasted, right? We can put it out there and then end up feeling depleted and frustrated and bitter, right? Whenever we set those attachments to it. Now, hopes and fears. Now, hopes and fears, the Six of Swords. This is going to be on both ends. A lot of times when the hopes and fears come up, they can just be one-sided. I will tell people our hope is this or our fear is this. The Six of Swords represents passage, and it also represents the ability, our ability to see that as we continue to grow, as we set these boundaries, we can see that we're going to be able to be happier. We can see that the world will be at our fingertips. We can see that we're going to be able to find more balance. But we're also worried sometimes that we're not past the storms. And in truth, we're not. There's going to be more storms. We're going to have more experiences that are going to challenge us, especially to remind us of where we are needing to set those boundaries of our energy, of where we're needing to invest our energy, and how to do so in a more healthy way, right? A more positive way, a less attached way. And so this Six of Swords says, hey, there might still be storms, but you can see that horizon, right? You can see. So don't allow yourself to get weighed down by the fears that the passage brings, but allow yourself to be hopeful of what you're doing and the change that you are making, right? The energy that you're investing, that mindful awareness that comes about from paying attention. The final outcome today. I love this. All right, the Nine of Cups is the final outcome for y'all. I am so thankful that this is the final outcome, because this is the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups represents fulfillment. It represents asking for the things that you want and receiving them. It represents your wishes being granted and finding the things that you seek in life. And in the truth, like I said, when you are paying attention and you are trying to find that balance, you will find that your world can be so much more harmonious and peaceful. And it is wonderful when we start finding that in our lives. It doesn't mean that we're not still going to have storms. Those storms are always going to come up. And at times it's going to be hard to see them as blessings, right? But they are going to bring us to a better place of being able to be more aware of the boundaries we need to set for ourselves. Now, at the bottom of the deck, because I do like to tell y'all what is hidden, and I typically use the bottom of the deck for that, this is the Knight of Pentacles. Now, the Knight of Pentacles says to pay attention to physical details. Pay attention to your health. These goals that we have, it is pay attention to the investments that you make. It's important that we utilize these tools in all facets of our life. And the Knight of Pentacles says just that. Paying attention to the physical details of the actions that we take will help us to move forward, will help us to find the goals that we seek. I hope that that reading helped you today and helps you to move forward into this new year with goals and dreams and the knowledge that you will find fulfillment. So have a great day. Namaste.